Okay, let's get going. Let me call the meeting to order at 7:03. And let's see, we got Roger, me, Craig, Jay, Tom, Steve Jones. Paul Watts cannot be with us. He's going up to tie his boat down in Massachusetts. So need to promote one person up to the commission. Tom, you want to do that?
I'm sorry, try it again.
We need another commissioner. Tom, would you be willing to?
Absolutely.
Okay. Let me make a motion, Tom McLaughlin, to serve on the commission for today.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Tom, you're
Roger.
top of the world. Okay, I don't see we have any public. I did send an email out to Will and Jason. They're not going to join. Their news is big surprise. The Corps is way behind with permitting and authorizations. They're trying to be a squeaky wheel and push that along. I'm all set. Jay and I are all set with the lease, and we can sit down moment's notice and sign it. But until they get the Corps authorization, we wanted to hold on that. So that's in their court right now. Okay, Jay, secretary's report and minutes.
Okay, everybody received the minutes the day after the meeting. I sent them to everybody. And after 3 days, I then went to the town clerk's office. She made she took the copy and stamped it and gave me a copy that's also stamped. If there's no questions on the minutes, I would ask somebody to move to accept.
So move.
Second.
Okay.
Discussion, comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Okay, passes unanimously. Okay, I guess we can move on. Treasurer's report, invoices, warden's wages.
Can I ask Tom to give us a report on collections, if he was able to do any?
Okay, yes, it was first of all, Bob Occolini said to say hi. I just had dinner with him. Okay, it was a bad month for the oysters and clams. We sold 255 permits. If you want the breakdown, 134 at the town hall, 69 with the police, and 52 with Ken's, for total gross $7,425.
That's incredible. That's got to be a record. Roger, Steve, have you? That's
It's
incredible.
close. If it isn't a record, it's close.
Wow.
They ran out of permits at the town hall, so I had to run down there, which is fine, you know,
Okay.
and they're doing a great job, I think.
Okay, and please be in touch with me if you need anything, more of the permits or more of the
I'll run down and get the permits, but I could use some more of the
maps.
colored app. You know?
Okay. I should, it just
Hey,
takes
and
guts.
Crystal asked me, how often do we seed? And I couldn't answer the question.
Generally annually, but we haven't always met. You know, we're still probably annually, depending on, we usually have oysters come in from the, you know, the commercial leases. If we don't actually do some seeding as we did directly with our funds last year. We have missed a few years as we were trying to find sources of clams. It's
Right,
still been
okay.
a challenge, so, yeah.
Hey, Jay, I'll have this down at the Marine Lab for you.
Okay, thank you. On the warden's hours, Ted Ratjens told me he had 62.5. Roger, did you hear from Al?
I did, and I don't agree with that number. This is for May or June.
It would have been June.
Let me look here. I turned in their hours. I've got
Yeah, Ted sent us an email. I think he felt guilty about the 62, explaining why it was so high.
Roger's muted.
You're on mute, Roger. You're on mute, Roger.
Committed.
Okay,
Yeah, at
First
least it isn't
word,
just me.
sounds like Warden.
yeah. I've given every every charade clue I can.
Hopefully this is the last Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
We unmute him?
Let me see.
There you go. Roger's back.
There we go.
Am I
Okay,
back?
Yep.
you're back.
I don't know what the hell was going on. I have 61.5 for Ted
Yeah.
and 35.5 for Al. That's June.
What
And they
did you
were
have?
turned it-
So it's off one, so we're off 1 hour on Ted's timesheet.
Well, that's what he gave me, or what Al gave me, 61.5 for Ted and 35.5 for him, Al.
Roger, did you put those in already?
Absolutely.
Okay, let me double back. So we have a discrepancy of 1 hour, right?
Yes.
I will double back to Ted. And you put in, Roger, you put in for 61.5, right?
Exactly. That's what I was given.
Okay, I thought I saw maybe 62 from, whatever, if we shorted him an hour, he can add an hour next time.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, moving along. We have some invoices, and I'll ask at the end of this if anybody else has invoices. First invoices, we have filled up the number 2 boat, the 18, with fuel. It was empty, of course. Ted himself put in 47.68 between vessels number 1 and vessels number 2. He gave me the hard copy receipts. We have Johnson's bits and pieces, nuts, bolts, eye bolts, line, I think, not line, no, just cable, 5704. So the new boat is over at the ballpark. It's operational. It's all set up, and it has a steel cable with a lock on it, just so it makes it tougher for somebody to steal it. Spicers, we got $313.95. All of our safety flares for the maritime skiff were expired. So I told Ted, pick up new ones, no sense in having expired stuff. We also had to buy a line for the pulley assembly, which is $1 a foot. So that was $313.95. Richard had $92.55. That was mostly staples to make the maps, and ice and fuel for the small vessel also. At this point in time, as a possible another invoice, while we were putting the new pole assembly in, the brand new hose got in front of the muffler and put a hole in it and just destroyed it. I'd like to ask, that was my personal equipment that got destroyed, and of course it was right in the middle of the hose, couldn't be on the end. I'd like to, replace that if it's okay with the commission.
Of course.
your problem.
Always ask first.
Hey, Jay,
Sucker.
Is
Jay, I
there-
have a question.
Sure, go.
Do we have a lock on that forward compartment on the mid-sized boat?
Oh,
Number
that's,
two.
We bought additional locks.
yeah.
I'm going to assume Ted put one on there, but I did not check with him to see if he did that, but I gave him extra locks.
Okay, because that's a pilferable place.
Yes, yep, no, definitely.
We've never locked it in the past, but we've had it in more secure locations. So,
Right.
Exactly.
Is there any other invoices? If there's no other invoices, I would like to have somebody make a motion and
I'll
somebody,
make a motion.
Roger made the motion,
I'll second.
second,
Tom, and a vote.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any abstained? Any against? Passes unanimously.
Okay, I'll be dropping off all these tomorrow. If town hall's open, I assume they will be.
Okay, thank you, Jay. Tom, just clarification. I brought about 75 of the maps and regs over and dropped them off with Crystal about a week and a half ago when I made copies.
Oh, really? Huh.
Okay, so we're probably good then?
Yes, I would think so. I didn't know that.
Okay, okay.
I left
Yeah,
half of the
just-
ones you gave me with Dottie
Yeah, okay.
and a few.
Yeah,
with the boys.
just when you check in for stuff with them, just maybe check with, and they're pretty good about yelling if they don't have stuff, but
Right.
I'd rather do it kind of an on-demand type of situation.
Okay.
so. Okay, Jay, are you all done with treasurer's report?
Yep, it's all voted, it's paid the bills and accept the report, we're done.
Okay, thank you. Correspondence, I had a couple, I shared them with all you guys, fairly minor. Groton Utilities putting in some type of modifications like a screen system to keep American eels from getting into the water treatment plant. Didn't see any real impact from that, so I signed off and actually sent them an official letter for their files. And we had a dock application come in from DOCO for the Orphanides dock, which and I have to tell you an amusing story on this. DOCO usually doesn't mess up. This is actually located in a little tiny cove just west of the Pine Point Marina. But on their reference map, they had this structure literally situated right in the middle of the active runway at the airport. I mean, dead center line. So I gave them just a little ration of you know what, because they're such a professional group, but they got into the loco weed on this one. Any other correspondence that anyone's received? Oh, I will mention I've been bugging Alyssa on the MOU and she just got back to me with the changes. I haven't looked at it yet, but we do need to move ahead with that, especially since it started raining again and we're starting to get into these closures. So I will, she literally, after I bugged her last week, sent it out today and let me look it over. Basically, we're changing the trigger up to 1.5 inches. It's good. We still have the issue of, I'm not sure if we're on, Murph is completely up and running with his rain gauge over at the Stonington treatment plant. This is one that you'd be able to tap into on the internet. And that was what was really holding this up. So I need to have a talk with Alyssa about where we measure rain or what the options are. But I will call her tomorrow on a nice rainy day. Okay, shellfish management research with Craig. I guess you could mention, Craig gave me a water sampler that I am going to install in Eccleston Brook, which will give us real-time water levels over a number of months. It's not going to correlate completely, of course, with our sampling events, but we should be able to draw some conclusions from where we see a peak in water levels, which means a peak, I would assume means a peak in discharge with you know, what we're seeing with results. You know, we may not sample until 6 days after we a peak discharge, but if we're seeing exceedance or something like that, as far as fecals, we might be able to tie this together, correlate this to some extent. So
What does it measure?
well, Craig, why don't you explain it? I think it's a fascinating,
Uh,
magical thing.
Yeah, this is just a pressure transducer, so it just measures water level.
Oh,
So it's, you know, if we want to turn it into discharge, we just have to go out and measure discharge a few times at a few different water levels and get a calibration curve. But, you know, for right now, I think it's just, you know, if the creek's up and we're getting hits, it'd be interesting to know that, and it'd be a good place to start.
Yeah.
okay.
Craig also mentioned, I've been, of course, taking a sample at the outfall of the creek and just started up at Groton Long Point Road. I might ask the state to take one. We have a dearth of data between where the creek outfalls up by Brook Street and where we sample, where our northernmost E sample is, which is south of the causeway. So I may try to see if the state would support me going around the Amtrak causeway and taking an intermediate sample there. So we can get a feel for, since we're seeing elevated right now, seeing elevated coliforms at the outfall of the creek, see if we see those tail off as we move down towards, you know, past the Amtrak, eventually past the causeway. So I'll see what, when I talk to Alyssa tomorrow, I'll see if she's supportive of us adding kind of a mid-upper Palmer Cove sample.
Hey, Dick, how about either side of the train tracks there on the west side?
Well, yeah, that's what I mean, the Amtrak train tracks there. I'm not
Yeah.
quite sure where, you know, we walked in there. I'm not
Yeah.
quite sure which side I'm gonna find it might be the Groton Long Point, Mumford Cove side might be easier for me to grab a sample. Because we were all over the riprap there. I'm gonna
Yeah.
kill myself,
Yeah.
on the eastern side.
Yeah, so Dick,
Okay.
remember, if you guys want, I've got that automated water sampler
Okay, yeah,
that if you wanted to locate something centrally located, like at the Amtrak bridge, I know there's enough space there to set it up, and it can
yeah.
grab you hourly samples over a tidal cycle.
Okay. Yeah, as
So
we
you can
discussed, I
get
think
things
we're,
coming and going.
yeah, I think we're, as you and I talked a little bit the other day, I think I just like to get some basic data now and then slowly tier this up. We may be headed to a professional survey of some sort on Eccleston Brook, but we're way, way, way too early to go that direction. But yeah, maybe that's the next stop. And, you know, I thought your comment about let's get something mid Upper Palmer's Cove is good, at least a spot sample, a snapshot. And if we're seeing something starting at Eccleston and moving its way down, then yeah, it might be. And I think we could find a good safe spot up there.
Yeah, just get it
Is
on
there an
moving time.
opening on the west side,
The west side of what, the
the train
causeway?
tracks there, the west side of the Palmer's Cove?
You can get, you remember where we walked in there? That's about as
Yeah.
close as we get, because
But how
there's that.
about the western end? Say
Yeah.
you're going down Haley Farm there,
Oh,
down to the
boy.
tracks. Is there an opening in there between, you know, the north side and the south side of the tracks?
I suspect there might be. I would have to
I mean, if there
crash
isn't,
the
it'd be,
bushes. Yeah,
it
I
would
think you can
isolate
get,
the two.
yeah, I think you can get in there from Mumford Cove. I'd have to do some bush whacking to
Oh, I know you
see
can.
where I get access.
I know you can.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, I might, depend
together.
on you to point me in the
Okay.
right direction there, but
Sure.
let me talk to the state and see if they'll support doing something like that. So we start filling in some of the gaps here. Okay. I think I jumped over water sampling. I won't say we're behind, we're up to date, but we're having some rain problems, as we all know. Got shut down on Saturday. For some reason, Stonington did not. They just dodged the bullet, but we were definitely over. I put off sampling with the towns this week to try to get P open again. And it's looking like that was a wise decision because we're going to have an inch and a half at least tomorrow. The state came out today, they're expecting potentially, if we have over 3 inches, the commercial beds get shut down. That means an all-out fire drill with the state. And they give priority, lab priority to getting the commercial beds open again. So we've already been told that if they even accept recreational area samples next week, it would be midweek. That may not be, even though the clamors are whining, it may not be such a bad thing. We've had so much rain and this is the warm period of the year. It might not be such a bad thing to even wait another week and let things settle, hopefully. I'm kind of afraid what we're going to get next week. We've had a lot of runoff and I have this working theory that the fecal coliforms have a longer retention time in warm water than they do in cold. And that's why we see elevated levels during the summer. One of the reasons. So anyways, yeah, we need to get open again and we need to get our July open. And we're going to do the best we can, but I don't control the weather. So as soon as, and I don't control whether the state can take samples. So we'll maybe towards the end of the month, we're going to have to, if the weather settles down, we're going to have to do some double sampling during a week to get up to speed. Let's see, permit management, vendors. I don't know if you've got anything else, Tom. I need to get with Paul and see if he's tallied stuff up because I did want to put together a little like a histogram or some type of chart of permits, what we're selling and when and how many and what type and all that for the last 5 years. So, and I gave Paul a stack of, I think he got 2020 or something like that, or 2019. So I will check with him on that. Jay, I don't know, commercial leases, do you have anything?
No, everything is in order as far as we know, and we're just waiting on Sixpenny to get their final clearance from Army Corps.
Okay. And I did want to, Jay and I sat down with the commercial map that needs to be updated. I wanted, after we met down at the hatchery tonight, I wanted to have a little ad hoc meeting afterwards, especially with Steve and Roger, to go over, and anyone else who wants to join, go over the commercial map and mark it up. So we have all the changes necessary to bring into the IT department, to have them fix it up. But that's going to wait. I think we need to be around the table with that one with pen and pencil and make some decisions. Or Jay and I discussed some of the stuff, and both of us were kind of scratching our heads on some of the CMs and what number they may have been converted to or eliminated and all that. So I really would like to lean on Roger and Steve to help us with that, but it can wait until next month. Boat status. Jay, I think you updated. Thank you very much, Jay. And Ted and I got together, put in most of the rigging for the #2 boat and extended the rigging for the #1 boat over at the ball field a couple weeks ago. And since that time, I believe we've got the cables that we use for security. And I know Ted's been out with the big boat. He likes the big boat. I think he's embarrassed to be in the little boat. And he's been actually getting out to Baker's Cove and doing surveillance out there, which I've always felt was necessary. It was a blind spot as far as we were concerned. And he says he's been intercepting people, digging oysters in Baker's Cove and stuff like that. So, but now he's got a quick way to get out there. With the big boat, you can be out there in 5 minutes and on scene and back again. Couple things came up. He wants to, because he's been finding people illegally clamming, oystering out Baker's Cove, he wants to get some signage up. I will talk to Alyssa tomorrow and see what they have. I think he wants to put it out on Bushy Point there. We'd have to get the DEP to sign off on it, but the state may have some pre-printed signs like closed area or something like that. Let me see what Alyssa has. She's provided in the past, she provided some stuff from Mumford Cove, so she may have just what we need. So we don't have to go chase having signage made up. But I think Ted makes a good point. We do, it'd be nice to get some signage up there for getting people in poaching, or I won't call them poachers, just stumbling in there. Some of them might be poachers. Some of them know what they're doing. One thing that came up, Al and Ted asked me about this, and I'd like to solicit everyone's opinion. Because of security concerns with the boats out at the ball field, and that's a dark, lonely area at night. Who knows what goes on out there? That's why we cabled the boats up, because we had a boat cast off. And the other day there was a boat actually stolen out of Noank somewhere, inflatable, that was taken around Bushy Point into the Pequannock River, abandoned at the boat ramp right next to our boats. And whoever stole it, I guess it was a couple, I'm not sure they've arrested them or caught up with them, but they abandoned the boat there, but made off with the brand new, I think it was a 20-horse engine. So I was talking to Ted, and I said, geez, I've always been a little concerned that someone might go onto, especially our little boat, and either dump the engine over the transom, or if you gave me 15 minutes in a pickup truck, I could be in there in the middle of the night and I'd have that engine off the boat in my pickup truck. So, I kind of suggested maybe we need to cable that engine or something, especially since we need to pull the small boat for maintenance pretty soon. And then Ted and Al came back, and this is what I need some input on. They said, we need to put up a security camera. And I go, okay. And I said, well, I'm a little concerned about a number of things there. One is vandalism. 2 is cost. 3 is maintenance once we put it out there. And 4 is what type of picture or we're going to get if someone comes in with a hoodie on in the middle of the night and steals the engine, let's say. So those were kind of my concerns about the practicality of doing that. What do you guys think?
Can we not have the 2 locking tabs on the 8-horse engine locked together?
No,
I don't believe so. I do not believe so.
Well, I think that's a very first thing, and that's what I have on my little inflatable. It's a 3.5 or something, but I just put the 2, there's a hole in the tightening, what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And I just lock them together.
Yeah.
So you can't undo it from the boat.
So you couldn't dump it in the water or steal it, huh?
Couldn't get it off the transom because you can't loosen the clamps.
Okay.
it's got
You know
to
what I
be a
mean?
long shank lock. Because
A
it goes
what?
through both of those screws that pivot. So you get a
Yeah.
long shank lock.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Whatever.
I've seen
I
that.
just I put the 2 together and I just put a lock through them and I keep the lock on my regular keys. It's not an elaborate lock.
Yeah. And if it
So
rusts,
ought
we
to do that
just,
for the very least. I mean, that's a $3 lock or something.
yeah. No, that's a good point. What do you think
Now, but-
about security cameras?
That's a bigger deal. How do you power the thing?
Well,
Solar
that's the thing.
power?
I don't know,
I mean,
batteries.
unless you used a wildlife camera, that was motion sensor activated. But
Well,
I
and that-
like Roger's idea.
Me too.
Yeah.
First it's we're interested in prevention rather than prosecution, I think.
Yeah.
We
They-
use
they-
them up at different places, and it's a big deal. You have to kind of have somebody specialize in that and read the goddamn things. It's quite an enterprise. I don't think you want to jump into it unless you really have to.
Yeah, I felt the same way, Steve. And then they said, oh, we can get a real cheap wildlife camera. But the trouble with the wildlife cameras is you have to kind of have that down at base level, let's say on our post there. Now, if Mr. Deer comes down and that thing goes off, Mr. Deer's not going to do anything about it. But if I were out stealing an engine and the thing went off, I'd do something about it.
It'd probably be in the water.
It'd be in the water.
At
So
the
unless
very
we do
least, How about the
If you use
bigger
a
engine?
wildlife camera, it's gonna be very interesting. You can spend a lot of time the next day seeing all the possum comes through, and then when the
Yeah.
skunk comes through, and
Maybe
You know,
some
it's like a
other
God
regular
knows what
railroad
you'd see on
schedule. They're
that
quite
camera.
precise every night. It's, from that
Yeah.
point of view, it's very interesting, but I'm not sure if we want to do this, day after day, week after week.
Yeah. Well, I question too that, well, when the wardens are sitting around, they can go through the footage, but I really don't want to be paying them anything to review footage of skunks going by.
Hey, I mean, I think the lock is a little bit of deterrent,
Okay.
can sometimes go a long way.
Yeah. And I hate to, and I think Jay has brought this up, and I hate to kind of completely fall back on this, but we do indeed have insurance. And as long as we take, I think, reasonable precautions, do what we can to secure things, we just can't, that's a wonderful free mooring there. The price it comes with is a security concern. So, okay, I'm going to push back on them a little bit. They were kind of all over me about how we needed some type of security camera. I immediately kind of had some reservations about that, but I wanted all your opinions. But yeah, let's
get a
get
lock on it first.
the lock on.
Yeah.
Jay, no one's going to probably take the big engine off the #2 boat, but does that have screws on the transom too? Does that?
Bolt.
It's bolted, so you'd have to have tools to get it off.
Oh, okay, so we're pretty safe there.
If somebody wants to take the engine, they're gonna bring a cordless grinder with a cutoff wheel, and they'll just cut the bolts off, cut the locks, and they'll take what they want. They'll be in and out in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
But that's not kids. We're talking about kids just jacking around.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I agree. If they want to steal it, they'll take the whole boat.
Yeah, well,
Right.
they just did from Noank. They took it.
Before we leave boats, if we're done with buying a security camera system right now.
Yeah.
Number 1, did you want to pull that boat anytime this summer, or how do you want to do you want to wait till the end of the year?
I think we could wait.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
It's running okay. I don't know if we want to wait. We did talk about having maybe one of the wardens, if Ted is willing, power wash it and get a new coat of bottom paint on it. If we're going to do that, we probably want to do that September to mid-October, no later. Unless we can do it in your garage, Jay, and I'm not asking to do it in your garage. So.
Well, if we haul the boat and put it on the trailer, we can easily power wash it and everything else, but it's always tough to paint underneath the trailer.
Do we have any pops?
Small trailer.
Yeah. Do we have any poppets for that?
I could get poppets if we need it, but even getting the boat off of the trailer on a poppet, you gotta
Geez,
do it.
well, and then you have the poppets too. Yeah.
Right. So I would say that if it's not, Ted is not using that boat, you're okay with it. If it's all right, I say we wait till the end of the season.
Yeah.
And then, do our usual winterization or whatever we're gonna do and go from there.
Yeah.
Number two is at the mooring. Everybody knows that. The mooring is a little bit tall, so it has to be fixed in the future, which is probably gonna be in the fall when I yank it. It's so the pipe, we hit clay at about 5 feet down, so we couldn't get it in anymore. We couldn't get through the clay with a jet pump. And of course, number 3 is still at the hatchery. All right. The other thing is, and Richard knows this, the town has already sent us a certificate of insurance. Actually, they send it to Yukon Every Point for next winter. So our boat is covered if it's over there. The last thing I have on boats is I made this little handy dandy key holder, and I'm thinking about putting this down the hatchery, maybe inside the wooden cabinet. If it's oak, I'll attach it there, and we'll have a spare set of keys for each boat at the hatchery. Because
that would be great, because we seem to chase keys every time we try to get a boat up and running. In fact, I have no idea who might have boat number 3 key right at the moment. The big
They're
boat.
probably in the ignition.
They might be. They might be.
So if anybody has any keys they want to give up, we'll put them down at the hatchery, so they'll be there for everybody if necessary. I did find an extra key. Actually, no, Ted actually made an extra key for the 18, and that is in the file cabinet, bottom drawer. Every boat has its own little folder now, so I put it on a cardboard, taped it, it's there. But once I get this operational, I'll just hang the key there. And I think I have one for the small boat, and I'll make sure that's there. And then people will have access, to the hatchery during working hours, just so you know.
Great.
That's it. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure before.
Okay, great. Great. Well, it's good to get the bigger boat in, and we'll have to consider, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We may want to, I'll talk to Ted whether or not we want to, for our berthing out at Yukon, put the big boat out there this year. I don't think we do 2. They won't give us 2. It's tight out there, but there may be reason to, since we got the number 2 boat up and running, when we approach Yukon in the fall, say that's what we would like to berth. I don't think they're going to have any problem. They're both about the same size. Okay, new business. Already touched base on 6 Penny. They're waiting on core authorization. Hiring of new warden. We did get that posted about 3 weeks ago. I haven't heard a thing from HR. I need to give them a call and see if anyone applied. And if no one applied, HR, for some reason, they kind of put it out for 2 weeks and then just let it drop off. So I'll have to kind of keep on them to keep advertising. But let me see what the status is on that. Kathy Link has not gotten back to me, but that's not a surprise. Sometimes she needs to be approached to get information. I still haven't got out. I was going to go out with Ted in the Paquonic River and try to kind of scoop around, snorkel around, see, try to assess whether or not any of the seed clams took last year. I keep putting that off. I will get it done sometime this summer. And I believe we talked about, and Jay, I think you fired an email out to Dennis Mass just to see, since we haven't pre-ordered any stock, but it sounds like if they have leftovers or additional, that they're certainly willing to sell stuff. Is that what you took away from that?
Yes, guy's name is Richard up there. He said that, yes, he should have something. I'd like to get back with him and have an idea from the commission, you guys, if we're gonna buy something, what's our number we're looking at? So that I could, if he says, oh, I can get whatever you want, we may end up spending more money to see if we can get maybe larger clams this time, to see if they'll take better. I don't know what you guys want to do about that, but we should have a number when I talk to him, so he has an idea if he's going to have extra, what we can pick up. And I'll do the transport again.
Could you touch base with him just quickly and see what he thinks he's going to have, so we have a menu to pick from?
I can do that.
Okay, just
but
see.
In the meantime, what's our number?
I would say $5,000, just out of the blue. I mean,
Yeah,
we certainly we
what
could
did
work
we
with
spend?
that, depending on what he's got.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think if he knows that we're going to spend some money, he might put us a little further ahead on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if he's
Yeah,
got
and maybe
good stuff,
prioritize for bigger seed.
$10,000.
Yeah.
Okay, one at a time, Roger.
I'm saying if he has 1-inch stuff, something that we're looking for, I wouldn't be against a $10,000 number for a big quantity.
Okay, Craig.
Right.
So somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think that was my point too, is that, letting him know that we're willing to drop some money on this, not to necessarily get us priority for numbers of seed, but get us priority for the size of seed. I think what we really want is the biggest that we can get,
Yeah.
and we're willing to spend some money for it.
What
Okay.
did we spend last year?
2,500.
Okay. Do we want to, I'd be glad to advance a motion that we be in favor of somewhere between 5 and 10,000, depending on seed.
We don't need a motion for this.
Okay.
I just
Okay.
wanted to, when I talked to him, I just, wanted to get an idea what we want and what kind of money we're talking, so that he knows he's got a good customer that's, not some kid down the street basically, or some guy down the street who just started last week. That we say, we can, get up there, we can get this if he has 1 inch stuff or inch and a quarter or whatever.
I think he
Like-
maxed at 1 inch. I think we were supposed to get 3/4,
Yeah, most of ours,
and it was pretty small, I thought, right?
yeah, it was mostly probably 3/4. I was a little surprised. Of course, I guess, you kind of expect something bigger. I go, oh, 1 inch is pretty big, but yeah, this was definitely 3/4. Tell you
Okay.
what, Jay, in the next week, I will get with Ted and go out and do our little qualitative survey. At the same time, will you see what he has available? And then let's get together and decide what we want to do for an order, and we can communicate with the commission here, or at least get a place marker in, say that we're willing to spend this much on this stock. If
I think it might be worthwhile to check with Bloom through Jim and tell him that we would like some mature stuff, if he has it, in that same category of price.
Okay. Roger, would you be willing to talk to Jim since you see him all the time?
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, that's
I don't-
good. Let's see what the whole field of possibilities are.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that, hearing the numbers that Tom's giving us for permit sales, I mean, I can see us heading for a resource availability crisis,
Yeah.
sooner rather than later.
I've always felt, I've been surprised at how resilient the stock is out in the Pequannock River, because I've been preaching this, Craig, for years now, and we just sell permits. I joke with people, if the Clammers Association pulled in 53 full buses and wanted to buy permits next week, we'd sell them the permits.
Mhm.
5 years ago or more, we used to spend that kind of money every year
Yeah.
when mature stuff was available. So, that's the way we'd like to go if it ever becomes available again.
Yeah, I get, there's certain areas that get hit out there, and you guys that are familiar with the Pequannock River, Mumford's Cove is great, but it's seasonal. I mean, the stock over there is phenomenal for steamers and hard shells, but it's seasonal. The Pequannock River gets hit hard during the summer. It's our only game in town, and the places that really get blasted are the walk-in areas out to Muggs Hole. And then people that do have kayaks and boats, and a lot of people have kayaks and boats now, go to the little sand spit where we're not supposed to be stocking anyways on the airport side. But yeah, I've been concerned. The wardens have been telling me, Ted's been telling me that the folks that know what they're doing have still been doing fine as far as getting their clams. Though Ted said, and I hear this during the summer, he says a lot of people are coming back and saying, I'm finding a lot of clams just under the 2 inches. And what that tells me is we've essentially eliminated everything that's come to maturity as far as regulatory maturity. It's all been taken out. And it's like the lobster industry where you're pulling up 3 that are just a millimeter under for every legal one you're taking. Just means we played the beds out for this year. So.
I got one more thing, Richard,
Sure.
on that. We have to usually prepay ARC to put us on the list.
Okay.
We may actually, now that I think about that, because that's how we had to do it last year, we had to get an invoice from them, then the town would cut them a check as a deposit. Could we probably get a motion and I don't know the number, let's say $500,000. I'm not even sure what the deal would be. A motion to spend some money. I clear with everybody before I went to the town, but you guys want to just come up with a number now and make a motion second. That way it's in the minutes that we cover ourselves.
For a deposit, you mean?
Yeah, we had to put a deposit down last year in order to even get into the line to get seed.
Okay,
What kind of deposit did we put down last year? Do you know?
I think it was half, but I'd have to go back and check the records.
Yeah, so if they have something, why don't we give them $2,000 down or something? But if they're not gonna have anything, then there's no sense.
yeah.
Right.
Well, let's do a motion here, since we're together and we can do something. How about 2,500 for a deposit? Is that,
That's fine.
okay? I make a motion that for deposit to reserve potential seed clams from, what's the company's name, Jay?
ARC.
ARC.
ARC in Dennis, Mass, that the commission approves expending $2,500, $2,500
For a deposit.
or deposit, yeah. Is
Yeah,
that
now the thing is
non-refundable?
that they never really came through with what they said they were gonna come through with, size-wise. So
Yeah,
depends on what your conversation is with them, Jay. If they say, hey, we're not gonna have any 1-inch, I don't know, or if they're growing faster, or if it looks good for 1-inch, I wouldn't be against this, but it's kind of a pig in a poke as
Okay.
far as size, right?
Yeah, I think that we ordered 1/2 inch and 3/4 last year. And the 1/2 inch was just about 1/2 inch and the 3/4 were a mix of 5/8 and 3/4.
yeah,
And they were late,
And they were a late.
okay.
yeah, so.
Well, we've got a motion here, and this is just to potentially put a deposit down to secure clams.
And I would not utilize the money if he said, oh, just send me 500 or $1,000 for deposit. I wouldn't send him 25.
Right, I hear you.
Okay, up to, let me make the motion again.
Yeah.
Groton Shellfish Commission approves expending up to $2,500 to secure, to place a deposit to secure potential stock clams from AOC.
I'll
Second.
second.
Second,
Yeah.
any further discussion? All in favor?
Here,
Opposed? Abstained? Carries. Okay, Jay, I will get in the water Monday or Tuesday, and yeah, if you could to do my little look around, let's see
Let
what I
me know
see.
when you're going. If I'm off, I'll
Okay.
come visit.
Okay, and yeah, if you could maybe in the meantime, just fire them an email and ask what they might have available. No
Yep.
commitment at this point, but what do you have might have available? And then let's put it together late next week. And at least get a deposit down if we have to secure, because I think I agree with everyone here. I think we're selling incredible amount of permits. We're having incredible pressure on just one area. It's a very productive area. And I don't think a lot of people are even tapping into the lower Pequannock River because they can't get down there, or it's tougher to get down there. But geez, the areas up by Bluff Point, it just amazes me anyone can find anything there. With the amount of people out there taking a peck and a peck and a peck and a peck day after day. And we have been open, until this little blip here with the weather, we have been open almost the entire year up to this time, because it hasn't been raining, so. Okay. Clam rakes, Roger, I'd like to get authorization or go ahead from the commission to get a couple rakes. Did you have any luck finding any down there?
No, I did not. Somebody must have made off with them. We did have one of those $150 rakes that are nice, but I wouldn't recommend unless we lock them up.
Hmm.
We're gonna have to do a much better job of, Al would know more about rakes than anybody, because when we got the Indians, the kids,
Yeah,
we would grab all of those and take them out. And then in theory, they went back, but maybe they never got back.
yeah.
We
Ted talked to Al, and Al doesn't have the rakes either, so.
Yeah, I know. So we're gonna have to do a real good job of locking them up, but maybe not buy the most expensive in the world.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Dottie should be able to maybe get us a deal on half a dozen or whatever you think you need.
Yeah, I was just going to start with a couple right now, and I was going to assign them to the custody of Ted. I think he'll keep them, I won't say under lock and key, but keep an eye on them if everyone's okay with that. I don't want them in the office. I don't want them in my house or any of the commissioner's house, but I think Ted would be the appropriate person. And if you guys would approve me getting a couple, I'd like to get a couple of the good rakes, but if you think we need, at least start with that. It'd be about three, and they're about 140 for the really good ones. They're made up in Cape Cod each. Might be able to get some cheapy utility rakes as well if you guys want me to pursue that.
Would you go through Dottie to get them or what?
I'd probably go to Dottie, throw some local business. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I agree. You should go through her and see what she has to say. She
Okay.
would give us the best deal we could get, I would think.
Okay. Let me, if you're okay, let me go get a couple of the really good $140 each rakes, and I will ask her about, we would also like some just kind of knock around rakes that the kids could use or something like that, and see what she could do for us.
Yeah,
And I'll come back to you guys with that, okay?
good.
Okay?
You
Everyone's
want
good
to
with
pick
that?
up, you want to pick up those rakes though before the August meeting?
Yeah, I was gonna just pop over there sometime and get them, yeah.
If everybody agrees, I think we can, just agree to pick them up. We don't know what the amount is. And
Yeah.
I'll submit the invoice when it comes in. That way
Yeah.
either I'll buy them and get reimbursed or whatever. Whatever.
No, yeah, I can go over. I have no problem buying them and submitting with my regular receipts next month, okay?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, I think we need, I think we really do need a couple of them because we've really been relying on Al and Ted to use their private rakes, and that's not quite right, so. Okay, finally, 6 months ago, we appointed me as acting commissioner or chair. And we said we revisit this in 6 months. I have in the
Time
agenda.
flies.
What's that?
I said, time flies.
Time flies when you're having fun. I have kind of a draft resolution here. I certainly would recuse myself from this. And in fact, I might even excuse myself and go get a snack if you guys would. I'd be willing to go to just chairperson from acting chairperson. And I can leave the room here. You guys can advance a motion, discuss it, whatever, and I'll be back in 5 minutes.
I don't think you need to be that formal. It's
Okay.
up to you.
Well, so I'm not gonna
I'll
advance.
I'll
Okay.
make a motion that you go from acting to full-time chair.
A second.
Discussion.
Okay.
Any? No. Second. All right.
Sure.
Vote on. You got to vote.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, run it. I'm
All in favor?
recused.
All
All
right.
in
All right.
Aye.
Richard, you're stuck with it.
I'm stuck with it. So,
Congratulations.
yeah, in the great tradition of
Good
Ed
man,
Martin,
Phil.
who finally
Careful,
shook it
careful
off
what you
after
wish for.
25 years. Okay, unless we have anything else to discuss.
One more.
Yeah, I got,
Go
Jay,
ahead,
go ahead.
you first.
no, I wanted to revisit, we still have a commissioner position open,
Uh,
right?
thank you.
And then so the one application the town has is from Ashley Hamilton. And in one of the email threads, I think, Dick, my read on your email was that Ashley wouldn't be suitable because of a conflict of interest with Sixpenny.
That is
Did I-
correct. According to the
Did I read that
town,
right?
Ashley said that she was part owner of Sixpenny, and the town clerk ruled that that would be a conflict.
Oh, so the town ruled that.
I
Town
think
clerk
Betsy,
told me that.
yeah, well,
Yeah,
Betsy
I mean,
came back,
that's,
Betsy came back in the email and said, I suspect this would be, she wasn't definitive, if I remember the wording. I suspect this
Right.
might be a conflict of interest. And I think I fired back, copied her back, and maybe you guys, and said, yeah, it sounds like a problem to me too. But I'm willing to entertain
yeah,
discussion.
no, I was interested in getting everyone's thoughts on this because I deal with conflict of interests all the time. And certainly anything that came before the commission that was Sixpenny related would, obviously she would recuse herself from it. But having been on the commission for, a year and a half, just shy of 2 years, I see most of the stuff that comes in front of this commission. I would not see her as having a conflict of interest with her or anyone else that, had a commercial lease. I mean, that's my view on it. I'm curious how you guys view it, whether it's, a perception thing or what your thoughts were on this.
Can I make a comment to answer?
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
question? I also asked the town clerk about it in person and not in an email. And I know the town of Groton regulations, a town employee cannot serve on a commission. So they must have rules and regulations. Let me see if they actually do have a regulation. Okay. And then if they do have regulation, all right, it's in print. If I don't think it's a good idea, then we can probably make our own decision.
Do we have any idea what kind of ownership she has? Is she an investor or, I mean, does she own 50%?
Well, she's Jason's wife.
Oh,
Well-
I didn't know that.
Oh, well, now I
Yeah,
think that's an issue. I think that's an
So-
issue. Yeah,
I
I didn't know.
agree that it's an issue for anything that has to do with Sixpenny.
Well, I think it's an issue for,
But if we're approving, dock permits, I'm not entirely convinced that it is.
yeah, I don't know.
But
though.
if you guys feel otherwise and the town feels otherwise, then my
Well, Jake,
interpretation or
check with the
opinion
town.
doesn't
I
matter.
feel otherwise. I don't know why. I never knew that she was married to. It's like having Jim Markow's wife on the commission or something.
Yeah. I guess I'm a little concerned. I'd like to hear from the town with, how about this? She does seem to have a specific focus conflict of interest, but if she were to recuse herself from any business within the frame of that conflict of interest, could she serve on the commission? And if the town came back and said absolutely not, I'm kind of with you, Roger, just doesn't, it's like the
Doesn't
thing with
feel
Al
right.
and Al Jr., the nepotism thing that I never felt comfortable with.
That was a problem, We don't want another one.
But let me talk to the town clerk, have her show me if there is an actual regulation.
Yeah.
Okay, and then if there is a regulation, it's a moot point.
Yeah.
And if there's
Yeah.
not, that's something we can discuss and we can,
Yeah.
vote on and see where it goes.
I
That's
think
pretty
she'd be,
Good, Craig? Craig, does that sound good?
Yeah, that's fine. I just didn't want it dismissed out of hand without some, legitimate consideration.
Yeah, even when,
And really just based upon my own experience about serving on other committees and knowing when to recuse myself and when not to recuse myself.
right, the town is a little bit tighter than a lot of organizations. Okay.
Right.
Why can't, the guy who works for Parks and Rec, who knows Parks and Rec really well, why can't he serve on the commission? Because he's the smartest person in the world. It's the
Right.
rule. Can't do it.
No,
Let's see if the town draws a firm line in the sand here and that, and then we're done. If it tosses the ball back to us as a possibility, let's discuss. I think she'd be excellent, Craig. A great addition.
Yeah, I mean, that's why, I mean, in the spirit of full disclosure, I would advocate for her to be a member of this commission for multiple reasons.
Yeah,
And that is exactly why I'm bringing this up.
yeah.
Is because I think she would be a very valuable asset to this body.
Yeah.
Well, I will do it. I'll
Okay.
check it out. And I'll get a copy of the regulation if there is one.
Okay. The other possibility, and I talked to him about this, is Jay Luden, who has joined us a few times, former oysterman, all types of experience from down Stamford, Greenwich way. I asked him, I said, geez, if we had an opening come up, would you be interested? He said, well, talk to me. I might be interested, but if you have anyone else more interested, really interested, then I'd defer to him. So that's another possibility too. So, yeah, I wanted
Jumping
to
in with both feet.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's 89 or 87, and he's saying,
Oh, wow.
he's kind of
He's
moved
a
up
young
here
fella.
to kind of throttle back a bit, and so
What, Roger, did you say he's too young for the commission?
too young. That's what I told him. I said, oh, geez, you're almost a youngster. If anyone else has now, supposedly, and we still haven't, we got something from Betsy. She talked to Mr. I've forgotten his name. I've erased his name. Yeah, talked to him, and supposedly he was going to put in his formal resignation. I have not heard that happened, and given the responsiveness or lack of responsiveness from this guy, he may need to be prodded to actually do something official. But I think he gave every indication to Betsy that he was too damn busy to be doing this. So
I'll check on that at the same time.
okay, thank you,
yeah,
Jay.
that'd be good, Jay.
Yeah, and if anyone else has any thoughts, feel free as far as who we can bring on. We definitely need the 8 people, I think. We've kind of flirted with problems even with a quorum. We lose a couple people, regular members that can't make it, and that happens. Yeah, I get it. But we really should be fully staffed if we can. And I think both these people, I think both of them would be great. So, okay. Anything else? Jay, you had something?
Yes. I have the Groton Shellfish Commission lease book, and I would like to check with you guys. Would you prefer that I have that down at the hatchery in our cabinet? It's all up to date. The problem with documents is that sometimes they get kind of picked up, put somewhere else, and you don't know where they are and you can't find them. I feel as though that if anybody wanted it, it should be available. Of course, everything's at the town clerk's office, so that it is available to anybody who walks in town hall. But for our commission members, would you prefer to have that lease book down at the office in the hatchery?
Do we still have that little lock floating around that locks that cabinet?
Yes, so we have keys to it too.
We have what?
We have keys to the lock too.
Yeah. We used to keep it on the top.
Yeah, that's where the key was.
Yeah, right.
That's where we
It's up to
found it.
you. I don't feel serious either way, but we could go either way. I don't know
Right.
how anybody else feels.
Craig, what do you think?
So the options are at the hatchery or town hall, or there's
No,
duplicate
Town
copies.
Hall's got the original copies. I have copies here at my house. So the originals stay with the town. I want to know if you want the copies at the hatchery or in my house in the office.
I think I don't have a preference.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a cop-out answer, but it's an honest one.
No, I mean, you all know where I live. If you need something, you can. come up
Yeah,
with
pretty
it.
much. I was like, well, I'm thinking
Tom, what do
Jay's
you
house
think?
is climate controlled and, it's probably pretty secure, so that's okay.
Tom, what do you think?
I like the Marine Lab.
Okay, Steve?
Oh,
That's a yes or a no, Steve?
what's the question again?
I have copies of all the leases at my house.
Yeah,
You prefer they stay at my house, or would you prefer they be in the office at the hatchery?
well, I would think that they would be both places. I mean, if you want to keep them there, that's not a problem, but they should be at the office too, right? Or how many, there's not that many, are there really?
Well, it's only about 50 pages.
I think the office would be good in hindsight
Well,
because
if, the thing is, Jay, if they're at your house, they're there for a reason.
Though the reason is that I got them all squared away, but everything is pretty much up to date now, so I can bring them to the hatchery and leave the book at the hatchery.
Well, if that's
I
the
don't
way it
think
works
anybody's gonna
best,
steal
I'm not for changing something that works. That's my point.
Okay,
I'm in favor as long as we lock them up at the hatchery. And the backup is, of course, the town's got them.
okay. The
As long as
hatchery-
this doesn't, yeah, as long as this doesn't make it more difficult for you to
Yeah.
access these on a moment's notice if you have to. And I don't think you're doing that.
No, I'm gonna bring them down probably tomorrow.
Okay.
Jeez.
And well, you're gonna put the boat keys inside that now locked cabinet too. So we'll have to figure out a place to put and tell everyone where the key to the cabinet is to get at all this good stuff.
right on the top of the cabinet, but it's not, you don't see it, you just feel it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's where
Okay,
it's-
guys, anything else?
Hey,
Hearing
good job,
nothing.
Mr. Chairman.
What's that?
Good job, Mr.
Congratulations.
Chairman.
on your
Oh,
new
yeah,
job.
thank you. I'm gonna go celebrate, have a beer.
Right.
Okay, make a motion
Okay.
to adjourn the meeting.
So
Second.
moved.
So
Make a
moved,
motion.
everyone in favor? Okay, guys.
Maria?
Okay,
Good night.
see you,
Hi,
gentlemen.
guys.
Thank you.
Jay?
You all set, Richard?
Yes, I picked up those tanks at your house the other day when I dropped the receipts off. I have a check for you. Are you around tomorrow?
Well, I'll be down to town hall doing bills and stuff, so if you're coming this way, just let me know what time.
Or I can just, you want me to pop it in your mailbox or?
If it's pouring rain, we might as well hang on to it.
Okay. Okay, maybe I'll send you a text in the morning. I was gonna bring some of these documents down to the office too, so I'm completely flexible, so I'll see what your schedule is.
Yeah, if you're going down to the office, let me know and I'll meet you down. I'll bring the lease book and that way you'll know where it is.
Okay, great. Okay, I'll send you a text at a reasonable hour in the morning.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.